Well, it's about time to go out there and start. All those people in the audience are waiting to hear this piece. I wonder just what they expect to hear. I hardly know myself sometimes. Well, it's kind of a funny situation. I've got to go out there and spend a good bit of time becoming involved in a piece of music for an audience that wants to hear it, but doesn't know what it'll get. And all the while, I'm not exactly sure myself what I'm giving to them. Now, let's see. Is everything ready? The music is on the stand. The mallets are on the xylophone. The xylophone. Of all the instruments that could have performed this piece, the composer chose a xylophone. Actually, outside of this, there isn't much else written for solo, unaccompanied xylophone. Oh, I'd better check the lighting. Seems right. I guess that's it. Time to go on. That was an interesting reaction. I'd really like to know what these people expect to get out of this performance. Pick up the sticks. Or why they're even here. Probably just for the entertainment. These sticks feel right, comfortable. I suppose it all depends on how much they'll accept. Ready to start. Look at the music. It says to begin with silence. Try to relax. A little nervous. That's better. It helps if I focus on the xylophone bars. There's middle C. All the sticks over as if I'm going to play. I'll bet they don't even think the piece has started yet. Some audiences become uncomfortable during silences, especially long ones. Usually someone coughs, or a door slams, or a flourish of musical sounds will fill the room. Actually, come to think of it, whatever sounds are happening right now are becoming part of this piece, and so the composer is including the whole room. I think that's long enough. I'll have to finish the silence in just the right way so that my entrance isn't too harsh. Maybe if I imagine that I'm already hearing the sound, I can make its appearance imperceptible, as if it has always been there. Carefully lower the sticks. That's got to be the last thing in the world they thought they'd get. A couple of melodic phrases. Melodies aren't always easy to play on the xylophone. Movement of the sticks has to be just right to get that flow. Now the piece takes on a new dimension. I have to concentrate here, holding the sound out, keeping all the stick strokes perfectly even. Hold, and now move gradually toward the nodal point of the bar so that the timbre changes just slightly. That's good. Stay. Now move back slowly to the center. And crescendo into this next pitch. And start the same process again. Process. Basically, that's what a good portion of this piece is all about. I guess if you think of it that way, a piece of music ceases to be an end in itself and becomes transformed into a means of allowing the listener to involve himself in its creation. The content becomes a mere byproduct. And back to the center of the bar. It's not what the piece is that's so important as what it does to the listener. I wonder if they're listening to what's going on. I'd sure like to know what everyone's hearing. Diminuendo. And get ready for the short count. I hope there's enough going on for them to make music out of all this. pause, and one more. Just a single xylophone sound. But I wonder if it does the same thing to all of the ears it encounters when it leaves the instrument. It seems obvious, but I guess it's all relative to where you are. This sound is not necessarily experienced simultaneously by everyone. They will all actually see me strike the bar before they hear the sound. And the people who are nearest to me will both see and hear the sound before those who are farther away. I'd better turn this page. Basically, this section of the piece is incredibly subtle in its effect, although the intended meaning of all of this, if there was one, is more elusive to me. The composer is obviously saying something here, but what is it? Maybe he's only concerned with the sound of this piece of what I'm hitting, and he's giving us all a chance to really listen to it. Like repeating a familiar word over and over again until it sounds kind of strange and loses its meaning. A xylophone is a wonder. I can't really imagine how excited the first man must have been who discovered what happens when you strike an old log with a stone. Maybe the composer wants a basic simplicity, just a simple xylophone sound. Or maybe it has to do with the interval that separates the sounds. The space between sounds could be considered as an aspect of the sounds themselves. Just one more. Now here comes the steady pulse part. Only difference between this and what I played before is that the spaces are smaller and more equally measured. It sure feels different. I wonder what it is that makes uniform time units so universally a part of music. Even this is no exception, though it is certainly reduced to its basic essence here. A kind of musical skeleton. Reminds me of Cézanne. He used the xylophone in his music to represent a skeleton. I'd better change hands and give my right hand a rest. I hope it doesn't distract the audience. It looks like most of them are still here. I can imagine what must be going on through their heads at this point. They come here to listen to music and look what they get. There's something about this part of the piece that affects me in a way that's difficult to describe. In one sense, these beats conjure up visions of a prison cell with the precisely timed strokes reminiscent of a wall of evenly spaced prison bars, and in some ways just as confining. I guess if I really wanted to put an end to this, I could stop playing, but for some reason I don't want to. There's a certain sense of security in these beats that's quite attractive. After all, these pulses do provide stability. You know, they'll just go on and on, no matter what. Oops, missed that one. Oh boy, everyone heard it. Must have lost my concentration. I hope they think it was part of the music. After all, they don't know what wasn't intended. The mere fact that a particular sound is intended or not sometimes affects the entire experience. Gotta turn the page. I'd better go back to my right hand. That feels better. Now I have to get ready. What I'm supposed to play soon is absolutely incredible. It's a kind of climax, this whole section. And that's what all of these marching beats are leading to. Getting closer now. I wonder if they can sense the tension out there. Here it comes. But I've got to be careful not to make it too subtle. I'm sure they'll think that was a mistake. I guess I can sympathize with them. This kind of piece is hard to tell mistakes from non-mistakes, even if you try. Fortunately, this next section will be totally different. I'll have to play an improvisation. Well, here it goes. I think I'll keep it sparse to begin with, though I'm tempted to play all over the instrument. It's really ironic that this improvisation takes place at the composer's command. After all, it's a composer who has traditionally been responsible for selecting and organizing the musical material, but here he's telling me to be concerned with it. I wonder if my playing is giving them the impression that I know what I'm doing. I didn't actually spend much time preparing this part. Anyone can play it, it's so simple. Of course, just because it appears to be simple doesn't necessarily mean it lacks depth. Let me get this page again. I'd better start playing softer. It's about time to move into the next section, so I'll finish this up and turn my right stick around. A few more things with my left hand. Now concentrate on the timing of this next entrance. The timing is key to producing just the right effect. Try to get this next one too. Gotta make this scraping sound seem to emerge from the sharp attack. These sounds are certainly not what you might normally expect from a xylophone. A few quick ones. And now without the attack sound. Funny. Someone once told me that the xylophone is different from the other musical instruments, and that it's not capable of producing a sustained sound, and only by rapidly alternating strokes can you get an illusion of a long tone. I suppose there's a danger in knowing anything, especially about music. In fact, it's difficult to clearly know what music is anymore, because the concept of music now often includes experiences which in the past were usually restricted to other areas. Now what do I do next? Oh, yes. Wow, am I really at this point in the piece already? Seems to have gone by so quickly. My instructions are to put the sticks down, face the audience, bow my head, and leave the stage. They're obviously supposed to think that this is the end of the piece, but as they'll soon see, it isn't, because the composer has put the ending of the piece in the middle. I'll just stand back here for a moment to see what their reaction is. Well, I had better return to the xylophone. Get the sticks and start playing this tremolo glissando section. Slowly and quietly at first. It says here that while I'm playing, I'm to think of clouds and the wind. I guess I'll play some swells. Where else but in a piece like this would you try to find a relationship between a wind and a xylophone? Turn the page. Maybe I'll try both hands now. That sounds good. I'm sure the relationship exists. It's just a matter of being able to see it. Now a little faster. Words and music really have a strange effect on each other, but especially when you talk about music. Even in this piece, trying to say anything about it would be like trying to explain to someone what a grape tastes like. What can you say that would add anything? Clouds. I'll play softly. Painted forms on a canvas sky. Brush strokes and a giant overhead work of art with shapes and textures continually change over time. It's all there, just like the xylophone. I wonder if they can sense it out there in the audience. By this time, they must be really confused about what's going on. I guess I'll just start to fade away so I can be ready for this last flourish. I'll have to play glissando from the lowest note on the xylophone to the highest, with one hand on the naturals and the other on the sharps. In one sweeping motion, I'll sound every bar on the instrument. At least they'll be able to say they heard a complete xylophone and not merely a part of one. Here goes. Well, that's that. Nothing to do now but put the sticks down and leave the stage. I've already done the ending. I sure hope these people found whatever it is they came here for. You can never tell. Some folks are hard to please.